Thank you. That was amazing. And now we're going to show our portfolios. I'm going to start with Tara. Tara's portrait work is subject-led. She cares more about how the subject feels, making them feel empowered. From the ornate curtains in her grandmother's living room to the wall of family photos, this nostalgia influences Tara's aesthetic, weaving a sense of history and tradition. These cherished recollections of her past infuse her images with a distinct warmth and familiarity, merging her artistic vision seamlessly with the unique personalities of her subjects. She looks deeper. When she meets her subject, she can see their past, their present, and visualize their future. Please welcome Tara Bryan.
There are so many people here today. Hello. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone for coming. It's been an absolute privilege to work alongside my peers these past few years, and I'm looking forward to celebrating the artistry here tonight. When I think about my own artistic practice, I think about Bell Hooks and her essay titled In Our Glory, Photography in Black Life. In this essay, she cites her grandmother's living room walls as her first gallery show, and the first place where photos of Black people were authentically represented in an empowering way. The portfolio I'm sharing here tonight is a love letter to my grandmothers and their walls. Although these two women had very different curating styles, their houses were the museums that shaped me. It wasn't until my junior year here at RIT that I realized my photographs were a visual investigation of the places I grew up in. My eyes, almost subconsciously, gravitate towards warm lighting and ornate patterns, emulating the curtains and wall sconces I can no longer physically visit. My childhood memories ultimately helped curate my own visual voice in an authentic way. I also want to take the time to thank my grandmothers and aunties for teaching me how to speak to strangers. Growing up, I often felt embarrassed by their need to talk to every single person they interacted with at a restaurant or grocery store. But because of this, I now know how to embrace new people and learn from them. I'm in love with photography's ability as a medium to bring people together, which is why my work consists of only portraiture. I direct all my subjects as I would my friends. When someone is uncomfortable in front of the lens, you can see it. It is very easy to tell, which is why the comfortability of the subject always comes first. To me, each photo shoot should feel like a collaborative experience. This image of my friend John was definitely a turning point for my work. It was the first time I had the opportunity to showcase someone else's artistry. In 1 hour with 2 lights and a camera, I was able to showcase this beautiful dancer in a way that felt authentic and intimate for both of us. Since then, I've continued to collaborate with Black artists, highlighting their talent and tenacity. I recently worked on a series with the Black Student Union at the Eastman School of Music. Out of the 900 students that attend the school, there are only approximately 38 Black students. And yet, the BSU still found a way to foster community, all while pursuing careers within classical music. As an Afro-Caribbean girl who went to high school in the suburbs of upstate New York, the diversification of visual media has always been very important to me. It can be hard to imagine yourself in a space where there aren't many people like you already in it. I know I needed representation as a child, so others do too. My hope is for my work to help fill that gap. I want my work to inspire future generations of Black children to pursue whatever it is they want to do. The connections I've made here and the work I've created ultimately led to my first editorial assignment for the HuffPost, which later ended up trending on BuzzFeed. The story I was assigned was a part of a series the publication titled Black Love on Our Terms, a topic which is very near and dear to my heart. This opportunity would not have been possible without the unwavering support I received from all of my professors here. I'm moving to Seattle, and I'm excited for the new work I'll make there. I'm not sure what Seattle has in store for me, but I'm confident that the people I've met here will be a part of my work for a long, long time. I love you guys. Thank you.
Tyler is a portrait and product photographer. Whether it's a person's unique expression or the intricate details of a product, he aims to create images that resonate with the viewers on a personal level. His work is all about celebrating the beauty of human connection and the stories that unfold in front of his camera. Tyler invites you to explore his photographs and discover the narrative through the elaborate set building, layering, and a complete love for the process. Please help me welcome Tyler Riley.
All right. Hello, hello. All right. Oh, there are a lot of people. All right. Hey, everyone. My name is Tyler Riley. I am a portrait and product photographer. So I'd like to begin my presentation by telling you guys a little bit about myself. So ever since I was young, I was fascinated with the ability to create something and to be able to express myself in the form of art. Whether it was macaroni necklaces or doodling on a notebook, I always felt the need to create. I got my hands on my first DSLR when I was 12 years old at a family party. I remember running around taking extremely close portraits of all my family members, who I doubt enjoyed that very much. But they didn't see what I saw. I realized then, and as I continue my journey with photography, that people often don't understand how beautiful of a subject they are, regardless of their physical perfections or imperfections. I don't believe that there is any right way to take a picture, and I think that every subject is unique and has their own story that they're trying to tell. When asked what my work is like and what it represents, I often blank and don't know what to say. But after spending the last 15 weeks asking myself this question, I think I finally have an answer. I could tell you that it involves layering, intricate compositions, and brash colors, but at the end of the day, I think my work can best be described as being fun. Just like making all those macaroni necklaces when I was younger, my work resembles the same lightheartedness and a complete love for the process. My time here at RIT has taught me a great deal of things. Advanced lighting techniques, how to direct subjects, how to fill out a model release, and more importantly, how to dispute parking tickets. Overall, one of my favorite things that RIT has taught me is how to use post-processing techniques to take my work to the next level. Oftentimes, my finished work is a combination of multiple different pictures blended together to create one finished product. Another important aspect of my work is set building. I believe that every subject needs to be placed in the correct environment that elaborates on the story I'm trying to tell and the character that I'm trying to portray. Sometimes that means cigarettes, waspy sunglasses, shag rugs, and nudie mags. In terms of creating my still life and product work, the same principles apply. If anything, it's more important. Still lifes don't feel complete without the environment and the notion that someone lives and interacts with that space, even if it's missing a physical person. I think that still lifes are incredibly challenging, and there's nothing that I love more than a good challenge. Each subject requires close attention to detail and an understanding of the relationship between light and the physical matter of the object. Like I've said previously, regardless of what subject I'm shooting, whether it's portraits or products, as long as I'm able to express myself creatively and have fun doing it, that's what matters to me, and that's why I love photography. Words can't express how grateful I am for my time at RIT. I've grown so much as a photographer and as a person, and I'm forever grateful for the guidance that I've gotten from professors and friends. Thank you.
Sydney's images communicate with depth, layers, color, patterns, tempo, but mostly with the lighting. Sydney shows us how to feel with her refracting and mysterious lighting in all of her images. Sydney is observant. She notices things other people don't. Sydney effortlessly synthesizes and converts mental images into something tangible. Please welcome Sydney Micah.
Hi everybody, thank you for being here tonight. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and my process. Photography has been a part of my life since I was 6. On the first day of first grade, we had to bring in a piece of paper with a picture of ourselves, our name, and one thing we love to do. And I still have this paper with the words, "I love taking photos with my camera," on it in sloppy 6-year-old handwriting. Even when I was little, a camera to me was something that could take my thoughts and visions and make them tangible. My photographs have been described as otherworldly, dreamlike, spiritual, raw, and playful. I want the viewer of my work to get a glimpse of humanity and vulnerability in my images, even in the ones where the subject is portrayed in a different world or a seemingly unnatural environment. I think taking a picture of someone is such an intimate action. You get to see your subject for who they are, just as they are in that moment. I always try and click my camera at unexpected times during a photo shoot. For example, some of my favorite images were made while I'm having a conversation or right after someone has laughed. I love getting to know people and figuring out which thread to pull to get them to open up. I prioritize connection between photographer and subject because art is collaborative, as photographs are not only made by the photographer, it's a work of art constructed through the merging of a vision with the subject. When I connect with my subject, we can make art together and convey the internal rather than just the external. These images are very special to me. The image on the left I made in high school, and it had a dramatic and darker quality to it that I felt like my images in college were missing. And the image on my right I made last year as an effort to reconnect with my old work. This series helped me re-enter the world of conceptual photography. I find inspiration in a lot of places. When I was a kid, I was allowed only 1 hour of TV on Saturday mornings, which meant I spent most of my time reading books and playing outside. I think I loved reading so much because it was where I began to start making pictures in my mind. I took the words written by the authors and built up characters and scenery in my head. So even before I had a camera, I was making photographs. Often when I'm thinking of images to make, I'll listen to music and then I can see like dappled and refracted light that moves with it. This musical light that flows and bends is something that I have been investigating recently. The exploration of light is something that keeps me engaged and excited about my work. Excitement or any strong emotion is vital to art because when you make your hobby and your passion your career, it's easy to forget why you do what you do. Over the years throughout college, I began to make images solely for classes or for a grade, and this happened without me even realizing it. I never stopped loving photography, but I started doing it for reasons which made me feel a little distant from my art at times because I had begun to view it as work rather than expression. I was really able to rediscover my creativity and the joy that photography brings me last semester in Florence, Italy. All I had with me was one camera and one lens, and these are my favorite images I made there. I took these in the dark room with only an LED flashlight. I was in a new city and I didn't know anyone, so a great way for me to get to know the world around me and meet people was by using my camera. I'm so grateful I began again the process of taking pictures because I wanted to, not because I had to. So before I go, I would like to thank the people that got me here. Firstly, thank you to my friends for always being willing to help me out and for spending countless hours in the studios and labs with me. Thank you to my family for believing in me and always giving me the opportunity to stand here and share my work. Not many parents would support their child in pursuing a career in the arts, and even fewer would take their teenager to Home Depot and build a small studio in the basement after she said she wanted to be a photographer. Thank you to my grandparents for sending me to photography camp here at RIT back in 2018. and teaching me to believe in myself. And thank you to my aunts and uncles and my cousins for being the best models. Thanks to all my professors who've taught me so much about being an artist. Also, my high school photography teacher is here tonight, and I would like to thank him for years of unconditional support and for showing me that I really can do this. Thank you, guys.
Figo's work looks fast. By creating motion for artists, athletes, and automotive brands, his lighting is dark and cinematic. Figo says his mind is like a 16:9 cinema screen, and with his lens, no matter who it is, he makes them into the hero. Figo has an unbreakable, positive attitude, which really sets him up for success. His 4 years here at RIT have taught him incredible skills. His editing and his video work are so fast, punchy, and cinematic. If you blink, you just might miss it. Please welcome Figo Wang.
Good evening, everyone. I want to congratulate my classmates and I who have fought thick and thin to present our work tonight. My name is Figo Wang, and I live vicariously through my talented subjects as a photographer and videographer. I've seen my work evolve through many stages to come this far, but more important than anything, I'm proud of myself, and it is a great privilege to be up here. I'll start with some stills of my take on American Psycho in the early stages of my craft. I like my subjects dark and cinematic with a touch of mystery behind each shot. Music has always been a huge influence to my vision. I turn the rhythm and cadence into a visual representation, and these album covers are a statement to my workflow. Conception to creation. I can see what the final picture will be, and the fun is using my camera to show it. And when I'm lost, I get on the phone with my friend Generative Phil 2024, and I always leave the conversation with new ideas. Sometimes I can't see the final image. It's a dark and daunting adventure, and I just have to take the straight dive into the deep end. Just jump. The adrenaline that a diver gets, the same one I'm feeling right now, but they stand 10 meters above still waters. There's a connection, a split moment between my lens and the diver as their feet leaves the board. My only job is to make the talents look stunning and heroic. Audi had called me to make an ad for their new release. I said potentially. Ever since I was a kid, after watching Fast and Furious, my love for cars was ignited. I love the thrill of shooting these rollers, putting the pedal to the metal, and hearing the sensational rip of the tires. I direct my car shoots the same way as my portraits. They're all unique with their own looks, sounds, and movement. And I simply intend to elevate these characteristics and deliver them in a fast and punchy video. The Offset concert was a monumental experience for me. It was my first time shooting such a big name, and before he went on the show, I had a small pre-shoot with him. He was very late, and it absolutely ached me waiting for him to walk in. And when he finally stepped in, the set was silence. But I had to remember, he shits on the toilet like everyone else. And I had a job to do. After the shoot, the next 6 hours is to bring that same energy from the show into a short video piece. The shoot was getting the right ingredients, and the endlessly imaginative timeline of Premiere is my kitchen. I had to starve in order to cook. Tonight, I want to thank my professors, my friends, my mom and Chris that have helped me drive through the trials and tribulations of 2 capstones. I feel accomplished, but nowhere near my full potential. And there's nothing left but the unknown. The next big shot. Thank you all.
August is a photographer and illustrator. He didn't start with a camera. but with a pencil. Each image starts and ends with a drawing. August said, I can see images and layers in my head, and drawing helps express them and flush them out. August is also a chef and enjoys cooking, and that's where the culinary arts and the visual arts collide. But it's in his styling that makes his images sumptuous and appetizing. Please enjoy this delicious portfolio by August as viewers.
Thank you, David, for the intro. Oh, there's so many people. As you probably heard from David and my sizzle reel, I'm August. I'm an artist, It's something that's visible in every aspect of my life. I've always expressed myself through art. Visuals have always come easier to me than words. I love food and drink photography for a myriad of reasons. Cooking became one of my main hobbies over my college career. Campus food wasn't cutting it for me. In my third year, I had the opportunity to take food photography with Walter Colley. This class awakened something in me. Up until this point, I primarily had my sights set on being a concert and musician photographer. Previously, I hadn't even considered combining my photo and culinary skills. Through this class, I found my love of styling and lighting food, and this new work immediately stood out beyond any other photos I had taken. I remember early on in Ad 1, after looking at my prints for our first still life project, Clay said, I think you're a still life photographer. And he was right. I had shot portraits for that class, but none of them had the love and stylization that I poured into these photos. I don't know, there's just something about listening to a good album or a podcast and toiling away at a little tabletop scene. Removing crumbs with tweezers, moving an avocado slice by a millimeter, arranging ice cubes one by one in a glass. It's a lot of fun to me. Recently, I've been trying my hand at product photography as well. I knew I could apply a lot of what I've learned with food to products. These photos were a little freelance project I was able to do. I want to work more with cosmetics and other projects in future shoots. Another thing I've really dug into recently is compositing. I've used practical compositing in my work for years, but I really enjoy making whole scenes. I love getting to see an image come together layer by layer. It's allowed me to get a bit more experimental with my work and go beyond sets I can capture in one shot. Something else that made me pivot towards still life is my struggle with chronic illnesses. I'll spare my whole medical history, but narcolepsy and a weak immune system are what affect me the most. I've had entire semesters where I've been sick. I was probably sick through half of my degree. Because of this, I've constantly struggled with feeling lesser than my peers. I felt like I was never making enough work or putting in enough effort because of things totally out of my control. It took me a long time to learn to love my work and my process. I'm a pretty low energy person and have learned to work with my limits. Despite life's curveballs, I've created so many pieces I'm proud of. The art I make meshes well with both my abilities and disabilities. Lastly, I'd like to thank my parents for always supporting me in my artistic pursuits and for giving me the initial push to study at RIT. I couldn't have ended up at a better place. I'd like to thank my partner Seth for being my willing photo assistant despite being a software engineer, and for letting me turn our apartment into a prop storage closet. I would also like to thank Walter Colley, whose class ignited my love for food photography, as well as all the ad professors for being fantastic mentors throughout my time at RIT. I'm grateful for all of the incredible people I've gotten to meet in my time here. Thank you.
Teddy's photography has a small footprint, and his photo shoots don't last very long. His motto is, whoever does the most with the least wins. Most all of the images in his portfolio are done with speedlights. His run and gun attitude means he'll set up 1 or 2 speedlights, and once the subject starts skating, Teddy is good to go. As a skater himself, Teddy can anticipate the action. He can see the future and jump in at the right time to capture peak moments. It's a collaboration between Teddy and the skater. Teddy said, when the subject says, "Did you get it?" and Teddy shows in the back of the camera, it's kind of like gambling. When you win big. Please help me welcome the big winner tonight, Teddy Miller.
Thank you, David, for the great introduction. I'll do my best to win tonight. Hello, everyone. My name's Teddy Miller. I'm a skateboard photographer. Over the last 4 years, I've seen my skills sent to another level. I didn't even know I wanted to do this type of work until about 6 months ago. However, using what I learned in lighting portraits and still lifes, I've been able to turn every skateboard trick into a piece of art. In skateboarding, you fall, and you fall, and you fall. Eventually, you land it, and you get it right. I think that's such a great metaphor for my work here and photography in general. In my 4 years at RIT, I've fallen more times than I can count, but every time I fell, I learned something valuable to help me grow as an artist. When I'm out at a set of stairs downtown trying to photograph a friend jump down 7 steps in the middle of the night, it's not the technical skills that matter, it's the instincts. Just about every instinct I have was developed while shooting. I would fail or miss something and be forced to live with that failure until the next time. Each shoot I went on, while building this portfolio and honing this craft, felt like something was always bound to go wrong. That gave me such a fire and passion to go out again and get better. Nothing is worse than having what you want right in front of you, barely missing it. I'm so thankful for my failures during this time, because it made me excel more than I ever could have imagined. I've also been able to experiment with other techniques, specifically in the compositing space. I've used this to create new backgrounds or show a specific action even better. This has given me yet another thing to elevate my work and use the post-processing skills I have to make something I've never made before. Seeing the back of the camera and having it be better than I ever expected gives me the spark to keep going, keep making my work better. Being surrounded by people who are so good at their craft really puts the pressure on me to make sure I hold up my end of the bargain. When they finally nail that trick that we've been trying to photograph for 40 minutes, I gotta make sure that that's the best photo they've ever seen of themselves. I'd like to give a huge thank you to my parents who always believed in me and this very expensive art degree, as well as all my peers and professors who made the whole thing worth it. I wouldn't be who I am without all of you, so thank you.
Good job, Teddy. Jay loves people. She is all about making people her business. In her work, she helps people by coaching, directing, and listening to help them see themselves, elevated to a place they didn't know was possible. People leave feeling prioritized and seen. Another thing you should know about Jay is her work ethic. She works multiple jobs, is a full-time student, and still has the drive to collaborate with others and really meet the mark. I'm so pleased to introduce Jay Shady.
Whoa, hi guys. There is a lot of you. Well, as David introduced, I'm Jay Shading. This may be repetitive at this point, but I want to thank you all again for joining us tonight for our presentations, whether in person or via Zoom. My peers and I are all so appreciative for the support you provided us these past few years, and I don't think there will ever be enough gratitude shown. I have a very technical mind, which almost led me to an aerospace engineering path. I had this set for over 5 years, but something never truly felt right about it. I constantly gravitated towards the arts in everything that I did, specifically photography. I remember when I was 7 taking photos of my mom in the grass at Frankie's Fun Park back home, and for a 7-year-old, it was a pretty good photo. Allow me to clarify, these are not photos of my mom. When I arrived at RIT, I was on track to be a photojournalist. With the adoration for meeting people, never having been in the studio before, never touched lighting equipment, and only knew the camera and the lens that was in my hand, PJ made the most sense to me. My sophomore year, I took an Elements of Advertisement class and fell in love with working in the studio. From there, it was a no-brainer that I was going to become a portrait photographer. It scratched the itch of the technical while keeping the personable element of connecting with people. I focus on the beauty and confidence of people, and I love creating photographs for them to see themselves as I see them. I am the most satisfied with an image when my person obsesses over themselves as much as I do. My sessions with people are filled with fun, excitement, and collaboration. I heavily lean on the comfortability of my person. If they aren't in it, I'm not in it. Often music is playing, laughs are shared, and I do anything I can to make sure they are happy and enjoying our time together. I strive for that intimacy we can create. In terms of stylistic choices, I love graphic simplicity. I gravitate to strong, clean colors that really allow my subject matters to be amplified, both in studio and on location. As you may have seen, pops of color schemes that work together, or one color that everything falls into are very prominent throughout my portfolio. Though I may focus a lot of the people in front of my lens, I still thrive in my creativity. For these pieces specifically, I had an idea in mind, sparked from inspiration or for a story I wanted to share, thus leading me to creating pieces to photograph my people in. I handmade the headpiece on the photo on the left, inspired by Schiaparelli in my fashion photography class led by Christy Boyce. It was a challenge to figure out how I can make someone wear a rain cloud, but it was really fun to create. On the right, I had this idea for a draining relationship, and what better way to express that than with the symbolism of hearts. One missing, one fulfilled. You can kind of get the gist from there. I also love creating series of images. For this specifically, I produced a series focused on the study of color and the expression symbolism based on the 7 deadly sins. There's a lot to look at here, so I'll give you a second. To top off my creativity, I fell in love with digital manipulation of imagery and creating composites that make someone do a double take, question what is real, and find a deeper meaning. As an artist, creating photorealistic and creative composites provides a second layer of depth that I can create that others may never think of. Other times, my composites are more graphic and highlighting how I can integrate shapes and once again color into those images in an eye-catching manner. My drive has led me to working with a wonderful community of people, the local a cappella scene. For almost 3 years now, I have been working with incredible people, and it all started by meeting those part of RIT's 8-beat measure. I am proud to say I've been their photographer for 2.5 years, and it feels so bittersweet to see it all coming to an end. What you see here is just a small curation of promotional work I have made for multiple groups throughout the years. Through 8-beat, I also met wonderful people in the University of Rochester's a cappella community, including those in the Yellow Jackets and Vocal Point. As of a week and a half ago, I have photographed now 15 a cappella concerts in total. This is just a small curation of my best concert images from the last few years. I have such an incredible support system through the people in this community. Many of my best friends came from being so integrated, and I could not be more thankful for each and every one of you. At the end of the day, I love to connect and create. I am so excited for those I'm going to meet in the future. I want to give a couple thank yous. Thank you to my mom, who is with us on Zoom, for pushing me to come to college in the heart of COVID, and to my little siblings, Emilise and Henry, for being my biggest little cheerleaders. Thank you to my grandfather and my grandma Mary for being here in the crowd for me tonight. It means the world that you are here, even though I have no idea where you are. Also to my friends, families, professors, and mentors for sticking by my side through the chaos of it all and pushing me to grow and experiment more than I ever thought I could. And lastly, thank you to everyone who has presented the truest forms of themselves in front of my lens. I could not be where I am without you. My great aunt Sharon used to say, always follow your heart. So that is exactly what I plan on doing. Thank you.
Shreya is a food photographer. Through her work, she creates a sense of connection, familiarity, inviting you to savor the beauty and diversity of the culinary world from the comfort of your home. Please welcome Shreya Ramadi.
Hi, I'm Shreya Ranade. When I first started my journey at RIT, I had a very clear goal. I was passionate about working in travel and animal photography. As you can see from the images on screen, my journey has taken a different turn. Over the past year, I've had the incredible opportunity to explore food photography, and it's been nothing short of transformative. I've fallen in love with the process of styling, sourcing, making, baking, cooking, and orchestrating all the different elements into a single captivating image. One of the things that excites me most about food photography is the ability to capture movement and make an image feel alive. Whether it's drizzling chocolate over s'mores or watching sauce cascade over kebabs, I love the challenge of freezing that dynamic moment into a still image. As I continue to explore the world of food photography, I am filled with a sense of wonder and possibility. I'm excited to push the boundaries of what I am capable of, to challenge myself creatively, and to continue learning and growing as a photographer. I am incredibly grateful to each and every one of you for being a part of this extraordinary journey with me. I want to take a moment to express my gratitude to my family and friends. Thank you for always being there to support me, for being my taste testers, and for ensuring that none of the food I make ever goes to waste. To my professors and mentors, thank you for guiding me, challenging me, and helping me grow as a photographer. I wouldn't be standing here today without all your help. As I move forward, I'm excited to continue exploring the world of food and push the boundaries of what I'm capable of. Once again, thank you for being an integral part of this extraordinary journey with me.
Moss is a creative director, also a photographer. As you will see, they excelled at production design. A good image needs to be aesthetically led and eventually be cohesive. The palette Moss works on starts with a vision. It could be about the person, an elevated world, or something that they are wearing that molds Moss's constantly changing and curious vision. Moss has a knowledge of multiple platforms, video, stills, production design, visual effects, like wearing different pairs of glasses or speaking multiple different languages that everyone visually understands. Welcome, Massimo Greco.
Wow, thank you everyone. This is amazing. I believe a really common theme tonight in everyone's work is the power of cultivating your own authenticity. Everyone that's shared their stories tonight has made me really think about how necessary that is to be a good artist. Like my fellow creative Tara, my creativity was born within the walls of my grandmother's house, except these walls were filled with iconography. So it was no surprise that I found myself in my first year at RIT recreating some of the most powerful iconography in history of Catholicism. Though I have no intention of indoctrinating anyone, maybe at least not unwillingly, I found that iconography can be used to create a relationship with images to elevate a subject, but also easily garner one's own connection to the work. As I pursued the icon more, I began to realize how many iterations of icons are still with us today. Or at least icons to me. Like the closest thing to Christ for me is this 1980s television series. You just gotta watch it to see it. We're gonna play it. There we go. I was inspired by this television series called Gem and the Holograms. And to me, these were icons of their own time. I let myself be led by my aesthetic ambition and abstraction, and eventually I found myself creating my own iconography. My work is like a mirror of my own reality, twisted through the kaleidoscope of my mind that leaves the viewers with a sense of awe and wonder. My pursuit of iconography has grown into a love of world building. To me, they go hand in hand. For myself as a maker, exploring non-fictional worlds has provided me enveloping backdrops for each icon I love to create. And for the viewer, it aims to create a more immersive experience. Learning to balance one's control of work, yet stay confident in one's taste, has led me to my journey of becoming director. When larger ambitions grew to take on more larger scale projects, I found myself working with others to conquer my aesthetic goals. Combining CGI with photography and video has led me to take on unimaginable productions of my dreams. This next production was done in collaboration with Jordan Katz, co-directed, VFX by Kendall Dirks, and cinematography by Isaac Salem. It was called In Glass, and it was in collaboration with a New York-based designer, Elena Velez. It was really my first attempt of stepping into a director's role. I'm so happy to share it with you guys. I don't claim to be a CGI expert, or even a video expert at that, but I do know enough of their language to be a better collaborator and a better director. And at the end of the day, I believe that, to me, images are as important as the air we breathe, and I'd really like to take a moment to thank everyone who's let me collaborate in making imagery together. Thank you guys so much.
Sam Ditto is a photographer and producer. Sam likes throwing their hat in the ring for any project. They secretly love helping others, no matter what the idea. Her background is in photography, so she has a wide variety of things she can help with. Sam's superpower is organizational excellence. Sam says when they are producing, everything organically comes naturally to them. Sam says, and I quote, "I love being on the move. I love flying." And I think that translates into Sam's photography. As you will see in Sam's early still lifes, they're just kind of sitting on the set table, and then they just take off. I invite you to let Sam's story take you on a ride. Please welcome Sam Ditto.
Here we go. Sorry about this. There we go, page 1. Okay. You have seen a lot of beautiful portfolios tonight and heard a lot of wonderful presentations. I am here to do something a little bit different, to take you on a journey as I discovered my own unique calling. I started off at RIT not knowing where I was going as a photographer. I spent a long time at RIT not knowing where I was going as a photographer. It was actually a guest critique given by David Turner that made me believe I was capable of something great, food photography. Just a little orange on a plate, but his words made it mean so much more to me. So I started food photography. I enjoyed it. I loved being able to try new things each time. New recipes, new techniques, but there was some me missing from these images. Now, I have never been a still person. I've always been on the move, looking up to see the next airplane take off, or driving with the windows down to feel like I'm flying. I always dreamed I could fly, so I did. I started to bring this dream into my work. I made things fly. And I thought, why not do the same for food? I tried it. I practiced it. I got better at it. Once again, I tried new techniques, new compositions, and I loved it. And then one day, I was assigned a group project. And like any other studio-based introvert, I feared working with others. I had no idea it would change my life. The photos were successful, the production worked out, but a weight was lifted off of my shoulders when I saw I didn't have to be a shooter. I could be a retoucher, an editor, or most importantly, a producer. The next year, I joined the production photo class with Clay Patrick McBride. I called being producer on our first small group project, and alongside an amazing team, we created something extraordinary. Later in this class, we were deciding on roles for our final full class assignment. When choosing a producer, my name came up immediately. We created a zine highlighting many student bands at RIT. It was a chaotic exercise in teamwork and total madness that does not come often enough. My final thing to show you is something I truly never saw myself enjoying. If it works. I somehow had the opportunity to produce and direct a couple of short films. These projects included call sheets, shot lists, invoices, the whole nine. This is a movie trailer we created starring the lovely David Turner, which I got to produce and direct alongside 3 other amazing photographers. And finally, the greatest surprise of all, the short film for which I not only produced, but had the opportunity to write an entire screenplay. This film is still in post-production now and will be screened on May 7th, but here are some examples of the kind of work put in by a producer and writer to create a short film. It was amazing to work as a producer, assistant director, and writer on something with a larger group, and we're all very excited to see it come out. I really hope you enjoyed hearing from a bit of a different perspective tonight. I have experienced and enjoyed a lot of different aspects of the industry during my time here, and I take comfort in not knowing exactly where I'm going to end up. This program has taught me to try new things and keep an open mind because you may fall in love with something you didn't expect. Thank you.
Caroline is a graphic designer who lives in a world where graphic design is everywhere, noticing all the smaller details. Instead of seeing art as it is, but the how and the why it was constructed in the first place. Caroline enjoys constructing the complex building blocks of the bigger picture. She uses her photography, her design, and her elevated aesthetics to create a world where her clients can see their brands come to life through color, composition, and thoughtful balance. Welcome, Caroline Robbins.
Hello, everyone. Oh my gosh, I wish I hadn't looked up. Hello, I want to be the millionth person to thank you for being here tonight, whether you were local and you just drove 5 minutes to get here, you traveled far, or you are on Zoom. Words can't express the gratitude felt for such a show of support tonight. For a little bit of context on what is bound to be a roller coaster of a portfolio you're about to see, I thought I should give some background on myself. As David alluded to earlier this evening, I lost someone close to me just before classes started this semester. It's the sort of thing that forces a change in perspective. So, as if my life wasn't hectic enough, I decided I would use this class to do something I truly loved, even if it looked different than what everyone else was doing, even if I was teaching myself along the way, and even if it was harder than just putting my head down and doing what was easy. Before I dive into that, I wanted to show you all my favorite images I took during my time at RIT that helped me get to where I am now. When I first started taking pictures for assignments, I realized how many of my peers had a clear creative direction, whereas I did not. Though there were pictures that brought me pride, like these pie-in-the-sky inspired photos I took for an editorial class assignment, I wasn't sure if I had a clear aesthetic path ahead of me. Whether I was taking still life images of my new shoes or cool portraits in the studio with a friend, I was loving every second of it. There are very few subjects I don't enjoy photographing and brainstorming shot lists for. My love for cool color stories led to experimentations in monochromatic still life scenes, like these ones I took as part of a larger series. As I continued to hone my craft, I discovered new lighting and styling techniques that led to some of my favorite pictures I have ever taken. I even dove into the scary world of food photography, which was a huge passion for me at the time, and it gave me so much respect for food photographers because it's so much harder than it looks, trust me. And I learned some valuable lighting and posing techniques for portraits that I will carry with me for the rest of my career. Thank you, David Turner. I even got to get creative with my portraits outside of classes and photograph some of my favorite people in the world. Soon after these were taken, I would experience my world flipping upside down and decide to teach myself graphic design and how to create a brand identity for local businesses in Rochester, because why not? The time is now. Graphic design was always something I dabbled with for personal projects, but never something I incorporated into my photographs. So I went ahead and found some Rochester-based businesses whose marketing materials, this includes product photos, logos, advertisements, and more, did not necessarily reflect that high level of quality that their products or services had, and I wanted them to reach their fullest potential. For my first project, I created new materials for Golden Harvest Bakery down the street. From new photos that catch the eye, to new logos, color schemes, and typefaces, all inspired by their existing brand identity, to a proposed print advertisement that combined all of the previous elements, I found a way to elevate an already incredible brand to help them reach their fullest potential. My next project was a local artist-owned shop called Notion, where one of many items sold are jewelry. Since the existing logo and other brand identity elements were already working, I just focused on product photography and some print advertisements to help boost brand awareness. Again, incredible items made by incredible, talented local artists, but the photos didn't do them justice. By taking a simple photograph and combining it with the brand's existing logo and typefaces, I created a basic print advertisement and a rack card to be found in the local airport. I also made a brand from scratch. After creating a proposed physically accessible play installation with a larger group as part of a creative summit I was invited to, I decided I would create a brand identity for us. This included everything I had taught myself so far: a logo, a color scheme, typefaces, and some posters for brand awareness. By combining my love for photography and my new understanding of graphic design, I was able to create something this semester that I can truly say I'm proud of. As I wrap up here, I want to thank everyone who has supported me for the past 4 years, but especially the past few months. I feel so lucky to have so many people rooting for me. Thank you.
Sophia takes pieces of the world and recontextualizes them into imaginary realms. Character and stylistically driven, furthered by immersive set design that is unusual and appeals to our sense of wonder. Sophia says, "When I see what's been in my head finally realized, It gives me a sense of surprise and accomplishment, which drives me to do more. Sophia's imagination can take the ordinary and make it extraordinary. Not just a photographer, Sophia is a visionary, a multifaceted production designer, a hands-on stylist, a lighting designer, hanging from a ladder, always wanting to do something more. Please give it up for Sophia Scaravillo.
Thank you, DT. I would say the exact same thing about myself. When I was a kid, around 2 a.m., every other night, I would decide I needed to change the layout of my room. I would get up and start moving furniture around at the mercy of my parents' sleep schedule. Another time, I ruined the family camera by sticking it in the sand because I wanted to see what the composition would look like. I'll have you guess what type of person I came to be. I was running around the living room of my apartment with open trash bags to collect air in them to create a trash bag dress. Mind you, we had a random roommate at the time, and she would open her door, stop dead in her tracks, turn around and go back in her room. And I have no idea what her problem was. I was inspired by how kids will always dress themselves in the most god-awful combinations, and believe you, I was very guilty. My photography became a way of exploration of how I process myself and the world around me. After all, it is much more fun to create a fantastical sense of the world than to create what's expected. Collaborating with people I've known for years and seeing us grow up together creates such an authentic and intimate experience. It allows them to really put on the best performance you can while being covered in mold. I would say I'm resourceful. I would make potions out of dish soap, cinnamon, and gasoline and get yelled at, not understanding why. That taught me how to use what I can to make something magical. These are aluminum foil stalagmites, and those are garbage bags. And this cost me around $20 at best, with no poison control call required. When I have an idea, I need space. I sprawl out from every corner of the room, rummaging around for certain props I have tucked in corners, and laying them out in a chaotic blueprint. When you think about it, building a set in the studio is just about building a shrine. You are bringing your imagination to life, honoring its presence, and memorializing it forever. As soon as I think of one element, like a blue alien baby, a flood of ideas comes at once, and I then visualize what character would live in this world and how I can translate it visually. I've always been attracted to the bizarre and extraordinary. This was the first and last time I had to be a midwife. Layering has always been very important to me. My mother would ask me, "Are you really going to wear that?" as I wore a striped shirt, a polka dot skirt, a camouflage headband, and plaid tights to my 3rd grade school picture. Of course I did. It became my personal signature. With set design, the same concept can be applied. I'll keep adding and adding elements that further the story of what I want to communicate until I feel as though the world is complete. Then I fidget and move things around an inch at a time, but it's very necessary. Experimenting with the concept of hiding Easter eggs or duplicating elements from the scene within the scene to draw the eye in was one I fell in love with. It's like a game of Clue. You just keep noticing hidden elements that bring you to an understanding, and if everything goes right, there are no casualties. I should have known I loved styling when I would cut my front lawn with scissors in the 2nd grade. Everything had a personality and needed to look the part. As a true maximalist, I never know when to stop. Character studies have always been a part of my life. Since I was young, I would dress up as different personas and create entire backstories for them. And yes, I became a 55-year-old car salesman while still in the 3rd grade, and my mom was impressed every time. If there's an overarching theme, like an event such as a pet show, it only makes sense to highlight who would participate. What freaks would show up? What would their personalities be? How much would David Turner be willing to sacrifice to win? As any good Italian, the Jersey Shore cast became modern-day saints. Creating a family of them would be miraculous. Am I deserving of high praise? No, we are blessed to see them. From the studio to on the scene, a weather report from 1989 was recorded live, and I just so happened to stumble into it. It was graciously gifted to me, and having grown up with a bow cut for 12 years of my life, it made me want to style it any other way I could. 6 characters were born. Self-referencing is a beautiful way to see your growth as an artist. Gertrude, Hobb, and countless others live on, just more refined. Everything you do evolves from a different version of yourself. I had no idea I was building this archive at work throughout my 4 years here. Someday I'll be old and I'll look at a print of that blue baby on my walls, rocking back and forth in my chrome silver robotic chair with lights and a fog machine, and reminisce about the old days. For now, I'll look at that blue baby and think about how I'm so grateful I was able to create that beautiful creature during my time here, and remember the laughs I received when it made its first debut. There's nothing more rewarding than the creation of life. I know I will always stay true to myself as an artist. I've come to learn that I haven't really changed at all. I've always been authentic to my younger self, and it's allowed me to create what I once thought was unimaginable. I've always lived in my own little world, and I'm grateful to invite you in it. Lastly, I would like to thank my parents for cultivating my creativity and being there for me every step of the way, even if they lost a lot of sleep. My friends who are my motivation, my inspiration, and my creative hive mind. My partner for being my biggest influence, an incredible model, and a very amazing artist himself. Thank you to David Turner and my professors for lighting the fire under all of us to succeed and push ourselves to be the artists we are today. The class of characters I've had the pleasure to closely work with this semester have given me the encouragement we all needed to keep going. Look at what we've done. We should be so proud of ourselves. I'm so proud of you guys. Your 6-year-old self would be proud of you too. We're so cool. I guarantee that none of us would be here without you. Thank you.
That was amazing. And that concludes our evening of presentations. I'd like to invite you for beverages and light snacks, and we have 12 artists at 12 different tables around the lobby area. Please, it's question and answer time. And again, thank you for joining us on this remarkable evening.